All right. I always got to make sure it works. One day, like, I'll be really good. Oops. And I won't even do this. And then when I get really, like, I think I'm good. Let's see. Yep. Okay. When I think I'm good, what's going to happen is I'm just going to start talking and everybody's going to say no audio, no audio. So, welcome to another episode 3. We are flying by. Moto Alley, I see, catch up with the chat. Moto Alley, Lucky Aces, Moto Bomb Virginia, my neighbor. Appreciate you all being here. Those who come later, all that stuff. Always very, very thankful for sure. Also thankful for this weather. Oh my gosh. And thankful for my monsters. So, Fallon and I just took a trip to Food Line to gather some. All right, cool. Thanks, Motobomb. All right, let's catch up with the audio check. That's why I'll do audio check. It's so weird because I will set everything up, and I was rushing today, but I was setting everything up, and then when it comes time to test the audio, there's nothing. Unplug, plug in, on, off, and I always forget that's out is on or whatever, so I try both those. It doesn't work. So then I just I restart my whole system. It's not just OBS. I restart the whole computer and then I pop it on and it works. But really, the key is to go to OBS and actually go to the properties and basically unselect this mic and then reselect it. So I don't know why, but that works. All right, Moto Alley, listening while working, making that money. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Driving that forklift, man. Man, I'm gonna tell you, Moto Alley. I think I talked to you before about it, but we do at a very novice level, right? So we do, being on part of the foam team, we had to deal with forklifts, especially after hours if nobody's in house in the warehouse. If we had to move foam totes around and all that stuff, 330 gallons worth of foam concentrate, right? So we move those around, and it's funny because I don't use it enough to where you get the controls. It's just like a video game. You're good at video games, you can rock out a forklift. But it's so cool watching. I'm sure, no doubt, someone like you that just whizzes around the warehouse floor or something like that, or wherever, and is just throwing pallets all over the place, and it's pretty cool. So it's always cool watching somebody do that has mastered their craft, right, and do well. Whether it's on this channel riding a motorcycle, those that don't think twice about a roundabout and shifting through the gears. There's so many things, and this is right here with Lucky Aces riding, multitasking. There's so many things, when you think about multitasking, when you talk about originally when I was driving just a manual vehicle, my first truck or second truck I ended up driving, the one I learned how to drive, I should say. But even on a motorcycle, how to let off the throttle, right, grab the clutch, pull the clutch in, shift the gear, let off the clutch and roll back on throttle, and we don't think anything of it while riding, while maintaining speed limit, while focusing on everybody else that's all over the place. So there's quite a bit, just even on the craft of that, just riding a motorcycle. So Motor Alley, multitask, I'm here listening, multitask, something like that. Yeah. Oh, so you might have been telling him he was multitasking, but either way, yeah, gotta try to start entertaining. Yeah, stay entertained somehow. That's right. Well, this is probably not the channel for that. Yeah. Entertainment, unless it's me messing up, so that's somewhat entertaining. I like to have fun with it. Whatever makes time go faster. Yep, awesome. So hope everybody's doing well. Moto Bomb Virginia. It sounded like I saw you in a different comment. I think it was Paul's Moto Zen in his ride, testing out his limiter. I think he said second gear, 60 miles an hour. I was like, damn. All right, he's got a sports bike over there now. But yeah, here to see what neighbors got to say. Well, this is perfect because I gotta go. Okay, the weather today was absolutely fantastic. And Moto Alley, I apologize for this. Hashtag Playback King, but we are there. We are there. I know. Spring doesn't start till March the 20th. Almost said 30th. Don't want to push out any further. Spring doesn't start officially on the calendar till March 20th. But took the dog for a walk. Make sure she didn't hear me. Took the dog for a walk, and it was 68 degrees, and I had planned. Oh, is it mine? Yeah, okay, I'm on the right thing. I had planned a ride today and something I wanted to test, and I'll get into it a little bit. It's 68 degrees. By the time I got on the bike, it was 73. I was like, gosh, man. I mean, I'm 41, okay? I shouldn't forget, but I forgot how good it feels to ride in like 70-degree weather, with just on the bike. So I took one of my favorite, probably my favorite route, just down the street, 15 minutes or so, and I'm in the countryside or whatever, farmland. As country as it's going to get around here, back roads and stuff into Virginia Beach even, and then loop back around. So I did a lot of audio tests, which I'll get into. I'm trying to switch up the system, and I'm really trying to dial in like everything before when the spring hits. I want to be like full, 100 miles an hour as far as the channel, and I want to have everything dialed in, and not have to worry about audio, video, or anything like that. So today was nice. I even said in the video, like, I'm definitely not one to brag or boast about stuff, but I'll boast about the weather that we had today. It was pretty freaking awesome. I was off yesterday. It was my first day off. Today and then tomorrow I've got some work to do with the media team in the fire department. But having yesterday it rained for a good portion. It was pretty wet outside, so there was no chance of going out. Wife had a bad night at work. I guess I can get into that too. I was gonna probably save it, but things are kind of escalating positively on that front. So I might just throw it out in this live stream too. But I pushed the bike out of my garage. So full disclosure, I started my motorcycle last night, and I know I need a battery, but I want to go to Cycle Gear in person in Norfolk. I want to go there. I've been talking about it, switching GoPro batteries. It's not a GoPro. This is a GoPro in the charger. Okay. So I want to go there in person. I want to look at the helmets. I want to look at gloves. There's a bunch of stuff I want to look around and just see. No impulse buying. I just want to see there's potential of getting a new helmet and retiring the old helmet due to age for safety reasons, of course. Yeah, king of safety over here. No battery yet. Come on, man. I know we did. The best part, though, Lucky Ace is riding. The best part is when, granted, because everything worked out for you. I want to go in person. And that's what I was saying. I could have had, I think I talked about today, I could have had that bike 10 times, or that I could have had that battery 10 times over by buying it and having it delivered and stuff like that. But like last week alone, it's been wild. Last week alone, and I did it to myself, so this is not a complaint whatsoever. I said I was going to be busy for the next month, and it goes all the way through like March 20th or something. So I got a few weeks left or whatever. But like I work, it's a busy week, so I work Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Monday. Like this past Monday was it. And in between Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I worked overtime Wednesday and Friday. So 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Get home 5 o'clock or whatever. So like it was, it's just a packed week. And rained yesterday, and today was my first day I could have done it. So I tell you all that, and I still have 2 more days where I'm helping train at the academy. What's in service, so it's not the academy, the recruits, but it's the incumbents and all that, sworn in members. So I got 2 more days. I signed up for 7, I only got 4, which is good. Turns out to be real good. And then I got a couple days of the media team sprinkled in there. So I should have some time coming up. I'll probably be at Cycle Gear, and then they won't have the battery. They did online, so if I get there and I don't have the battery, I promise I'll just order it, pick it up. But I say all that because my Fallon hair everywhere. Don't worry about it. My driveway, I've mentioned to some of you, has just enough of the decline going down that I can get fast enough speed to bump start the motorcycle, right? Well, my wife, I told you, this all has this book open right here. I'm about to close it. I'm actually going to finish the story. Her having a pretty crappy night or whatever at work. I did not want to wake her up. She's at work again, so today's her second night, and then she works tomorrow, so 3 nights. I was like, I don't want to wake her up with the motorcycle. I took the dog for a walk. She got to meet a couple other dogs, all that stuff. A Great Dane, like huge dog and all that stuff, and so that was really cool. And I thought, I fed her and I got on the bike and I started walking. And as soon as I turned the bike around in the grass, she started barking. I was like, well, so much for that. But she told me she heard the garage door. So either way, I was cooked. So I walked the bike. I started the bike last night knowing that I was going to do some audio test and potentially, like some field of FOV, field of vision tests and stuff with the camera. And I started up and I kid you not, it started right up. Okay. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I let it run for a little bit or whatever. Like 8 something at night. TV timeout. I came back today. I pushed it down to the end of the street. I went to start it up. Nah, I wasn't having it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I looked around. I was like, well, we'll see. This looks kind of maybe a little downhill, whatever. It all looks the same. But pushing it, you can tell if you're going downhill. Even a slight degree, a couple degree angle, you can tell if you're going downhill. So I hit that up. So it started up the very first try, and I got on camera. The other day, I tell you, I was talking to Mean Game about that decline, but I went up and down my driveway, like I think it was like 5 times. It was like Steven on 2 wheels. The guy, he pops in here once in a while, and he had to kickstart his moped. But and then Motobahn Virginia saying Cycle Gear is not too far up the road from where I work. I've been up there plenty of times. Yeah, you got a tattoo shop. Is your tattoo shop? Is it in Norfolk? Is it in Norfolk? Do a drive-by. Let's see. Where am I at? Interstate neighbor has got to say. Nothing good, of course. Lucky says he's the same person. Oh, I have too many monsters drink. Yeah, too many for sure. This one's lightly chilled. I just got it and had like 20 minutes in the freezer. Perfect. But let's see. Where are we at now? All right. We could dive into it. Mostly on time today too. It was close. It was definitely close. So I thought third time I was running up and down the stairs. Dog was in the way. I was like, not now. All right, let's see if I can do this. Thanks again. Obviously, y'all being here. I almost hit the timer one more time. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do this. Oh yeah, look at that. All right. If I hit this, it should go perfect. All right, so I did this. This is kind of funny because, well, funny to me, not to anybody else. But I did Chasing Perfection on the old channel. I had that title, and in OBS, it actually had saved. I've saved this whole like template essentially. Like I'm trying to make my life on YouTube, not in real life. I'm still very unorganized. Yeah, we'll go with that. I'm very unorganized when it comes to a lot of things, but for the channel here, I'm trying to make everything streamlined. And I don't want to say I was corrected. I mentioned like talking about like low effort. Low effort's a terrible thing to say. Less friction is the more proper thing to say. So I'm trying to make things have a lot less friction. And in doing so, for example, when I make these OBS, what do you call it? Templates or something, we'll go with that. I just backspace from what I need. I come up with like 4 to 5 talking points, and I change the date. And Chasing Perfection, episode 3. Boom. That's how I got it. Well, the last channel, the previous dimension on the Firefighter channel, the last episode I did was Chasing Perfection. So, see, funny to me, not to you, but it was cool to see that because I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna do this. I remembered I did Chasing Perfection before, but I didn't realize it was like the last one, or at least the last one I had. I made the template. Fallon here. Last one I made a template for. So going back to exhilarating, right? Boom. Going back to this. Let's see what you got. Motor Alley. I'm behind, but it's warming up here. Today was 13 Celsius, up from 18 Celsius on the weekend. Up to 18, sorry. I was going to say up to 18 Celsius on the weekend. Driving a forklift is fun, but it has its own challenges. Absolutely. And it's one thing, like you always want to back up. Like, I guess I got to do this. You always want to back up, like when you're driving a vehicle or something like that, and put your arm back here. And you cannot do that. It's a big no. As you know, it's a big no-no. Can't put that cage, obviously, you can't put your hand on the outside. I'm It's not a big deal. I'm kind of forklift certified through Hertz, and then they went out of business, and I think they're back now. But anyway, it's just bankruptcy. Rich people can do that and come back. Okay, so new audio plan. Here we go. Incident action plan. New audio plan. Field of view change. No more commentary. And that's a good one, Lucky. I know. Haha. DJI Action 6 let down. The Mule is en route. Okay. All right. So what I was trying to do, once again, friction. That's what I should. Chasing perfection should have been no friction. But what I want to do is I want to get away from. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Let's see. I don't know if it's gonna be. Yeah. All right. So this. Well, I got hit by a lot of bugs today. It was pretty good. All right. So this helmet. Show all the bug splat. Yeah, there we go. I don't know how people wear like open fate like module helmets or just a bolt on your head. I am just getting destroyed by bugs. It's just like certain roads that you ride and going cross country, there's no chance. So anyway, the Osmo is on here right now. So I'm going from essentially I've had the same setup with GoPro on my helmet for 3.5 years. I've had 2 different GoPros. I've had the Hero 10 when I started, October 22, somewhere around there. First motovlog was October 3rd, 2022. And in doing so, I've had the same thing. Now, because it wasn't, this would be good. Actually, you can see it pretty good. Look at that. Planned it. Not really. So the GoPro sits here. Now, if I planned it, I would have hooked it up. But I've got, fell in here. All right. So we'll just set it like that. Don't fall. That's fine. Yeah. GoPro sits here normally. This is plugged in. You know what? If we're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's do it right. Hold on. Please stand by. Let's do it right. Anyway, I guess I can talk. Probably still here. Okay. So GoPro would sit on the front. Because I have a wired connection starting out, and I never got away from it, the GoPro and it didn't have, I don't think the 10 has Bluetooth capabilities. I never really looked into it. I think the 13 might. I'm not sure. Y'all can tell me. But I never got around to it because I never wanted to mess with I never want to mess with it. And what I had worked. And anybody will tell you, and you as a viewer of anything, you can watch a video or watch a movie that has, and I say watch, but you can watch a movie that has great audio, right? Great audio and terrible video. Like people, obviously it's not popular to watch a black and white movie, but if you can watch it where it's got good audio, then you're more likely to be able to stomach it or something like that. I don't know. That's not a great example, but truth be told, that's it. So since it never broke, and I like to say that my audio was good. I've got people asking about the no commentary video. Somebody mentioned about what mic I use and stuff. And for years now, the mic that I use is on Amazon. It's called it was called a Giant Squid. I think the company's still around, but the actual mic is discontinued. They don't make it anymore. So I explained, and the link is still there as far as like the picture, but they don't sell it. It's discontinued, all that other stuff. So for some reason, I guess for whatever reason it's still there, but I that's the one I use. Said I purchased it in September of 22. But how it works is the GoPro is powering the GoPro audio adapter, and the audio adapter over here has a audio jack, right? Lav mic goes in here, 3.5 millimeter. Oops, something snapped. I don't know. Whatever. That's either me or comforting that the helmet snapped. It's fine. Everything's fine, but gently used. And then the mic itself, I tuck in. Most of y'all have a way to do it, but if you look in away from down, there you go. Oh, wait, you can see between the cheek pad right there, there's a little mic hanging out. Well, I'll just point to it. That's probably better. Right there. And I try to keep it so it's not, elevated enough, and that way the wind doesn't really kind of tear it up, because it's not quite as good as a dead cat or something like that, as far as that protecting the wind. I do like wind in my videos. I've said it before, I like a little bit of wind, not like a lot of wind, not distracting wind, not you hear it and all that stuff, but I like a little bit of wind. I like that you can hear the motorcycle itself, the field of view, all the other stuff, being able to see a good sized field of view. And yeah, I don't know, that's what I've always been into. So audio was big for me, and it continues to be big for me. But what concerns me is, the GoPro's waterproof, water resistant, all that good stuff. Let me catch up. Lucky Aces says 720p video with good audio is better than 4K crisp video with bad audio. Exactly. That's exactly it, 100%. And that's what I'm getting at. Like, I would rather sacrifice video, which we don't have to nowadays, and make sure the audio is good. So absolutely. And anybody that watches YouTube, it's the same thing, whether it's somebody doing a talking head, and I'm not sure, like, I got the AC on right now. Sorry, Moto Alley. I got the AC running a little bit, all the bright lights and electricity and everything. It's a little hot in the man cave, but that should, I believe I have, yep, I do. I was just watching the gain level fall. So if I stop talking, it should get pretty much silent. Yeah. So I have basically a limiter on here, not just a limiter on the high, but I've got a noise gate. I guess it's on their filter, and it's supposed to take away, find out what the hum is. So anytime you do something like this, if you're ever going to record inside, do what's going to be on, like the AC. I got a fan right here blowing on the computer, keeping that cool. If there's any noise, if you're doing a washer dryer or something like that, it's down the hall or whatever, just play it and then watch where the decibel level is, and then eliminate that. So nothing below, like, I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's -50 or -40 for me right now. Whatever that hum is gets eliminated. If you go too high up, like if you did like -30, if I said something that had an S at the end, by the time I get done with the S as it trails off decibel level, it might do a hard cut. So you got to try to fine tune that and everything. Anyway, moving on. It's about audio. Come on, it counts. So yeah, my concern was obviously rain. That's not waterproof. This isn't waterproof over here. I never taped this up. And then, anything that has a plug-in, right? USB-C over here, and then the 3.5 millimeter jack over there for the audio, right? And then the opening USB-C over there too. So it's not waterproof, right? It's not water resistant, not waterproof, and to the point where everything could fail and damage. Get to the point where you plug in your cell phone and it says moisture detected, unplug immediately or something, and you just gotta let it dry out, and then or do wireless charging. So I've been looking at trying to find a way to get away from this. And I know there's wireless mics. There's Rode RODE makes one. Obviously DJI, is it Honeywell? Honeywell, I think, is another one. And obviously I have the Neewer mics, and the Neewer mics are good, but I don't trust them. And I'm very lucky that when I did the interview with Lucky, or the podcast with Lucky, that they worked, because I was supposed to record those internally, and when I looked it up, or when I plugged it in, because one of the benefits, they're like $70. You can get them on sale for $70 on Amazon. They're like 120 normally, but they go on sale a lot. Those mics are supposed to be able to record internally. So I was trying to record internally and through the 360. Well, it failed. I was up fighting with that all night. I didn't sleep. That was the whole thing about on that trip, and the night before, and then it was in my head about like the audio working, or is the drone gonna work? Is this, is all this stuff gonna work? And then I get there and I plug it in. I remember plugging in one of the transmitters, and it was nothing. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I really thought it was gone, because then I plugged in the 360 and I was like, please hit play, and it was my dumb self talking. So it worked out, but I don't trust them. And I absolutely hate, the one thing I hate about motovlogs and YouTube in general is the damn record button. I hate it, because I am terrible at it. I'm better at everything else in my entire life other than hitting record. And the other one is sometimes I've done it before where I didn't plug in the audio jack, right? Audio cable. I didn't plug it in. So all you hear is a lot of wind and me barely talking. So I've done that a few times too over 3 years. I guess it's not so bad, but it's like even today's ride. I was talking about the audio, essentially what the plan was, and I did some examples. And I had this set up, and I was well, I know I was like 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes in, because that's what their recorder was when I looked at it. But before I looked at it, when I hit record to like stop the recording, it started recording. And I was like, and if anybody does motovlogs and they see like when you hit record to stop and all of a sudden it like starts counting up, I said, I'm in the middle, like I say middle of nowhere. Nobody else is around me. I'm in the country or whatever. I'm pulled over and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no way I just did that. There's no way. So it turns out it was actually a good story, because I did not want to tell that whole story again about what I was doing. I hate it because then it seems rehearsed, and there's certain things that like that come to me while I'm talking, and then I just say it, and I'm not an actor, and to say that again, the same thing or whatever, to portray that same emotion or what, you know, what positive, negative or something, like I didn't want to play that. So luckily, I guess when I hit it twice, so it stopped the recording and started a new one. So when I stopped it the second time, which I thought I was stopping it for the first time, it counted 2 seconds. I looked back and it was like 12 minutes and 30 something, 34 seconds or whatever. So I was like, thank goodness. So we're good. We're good. Let me see what's up. Worst case, we just make another trip. Yeah, those might work great considering how windy it was. Yeah, I was actually impressed with that. And I know, Lucky, I think you have the DJI. You have the mic minis maybe or something, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere. But either way, DJI. So I think that was cool. And I was like, I was not familiar with that. And hindsight, looking back, I would have had you record and me record. That way something happened, you know. And I know you recorded some stuff through the Nano. I think it was DJI Nano, which was so funny seeing that on the Boom Vader. That's funny. All right, I have like nowhere to put this. I'll just hold on to it. No, I'll just put it down here. That was. There's so much going on right here. Here's a mini SD card and a reader. I have no idea what's on here. Anyway, I just found it. Luckily, I didn't run it over. Okay. I'll try to keep all the SD cards to the original owner. So this belongs to. Never mind. It's 32 gig. That's a backup. All right, I'm good. I fell out my bag. My bag was right there. But like the Insta360 has a SD card that just belongs to that 360. It's formatted. Yeah, I'll try to make it so there's no excuse for anything to go wrong, except for get nailed it. Murphy's Law. Lucky's talking about the Nano. I love that little camera. Perfect size. Feels slightly cheap in the hand though. Okay. That's magnetic, right? I'm pretty sure it's magnetic. I've seen people put that, put it on like a metal pole or something like that. Yeah, I mean, man, I tell you, I know I'm not supposed to like China, but I like the DJI Chinese cameras. The drones, I fell in love, I guess, honestly, with the drones. My old man hobby is going to be flying like an RC car, or my old man hobby is going to be like flying an RC plane. Nailed it. Anyway. Is it hot in here? Y'all sweating? I'm just sweating. Also moved the light over. I don't know. The light used to be, so your light should be at like a 45. Key light, fill light, all that stuff. Hair light, rim light, everything, whatever. Behind me, I got a green light, whatever. I just threw that out there, just trying something new. I don't even put it in the right spot, but I've got this closer to a 45. In my head, it did not work right here because of how the table, it's got a secret lab, like metal table. And in the corners, I have the ability to like clamp it. It's a clamp. But I remember trying it the first time, it didn't work. And this time I kind of like I force it open, maybe a couple more turns than I think I did last time, so it slides in. So it's good. I got a 45 right here. It's not in my eyes. Got a little bit brighter. And yeah, I think it works decent. Magnetic, yeah, perfect stealth vlogging camera. Exactly. No, the thing's cool, especially the fact that you can take it apart and keep it, like you said, compact and all that stuff. So, um, yeah. Yeah, anyway, so RC plane, and like a biplane or something, not like not some fast jet that just takes off or whatever. But I mean, I'm talking like fuel, not battery operated really. So just a controller, put some fuel in it, let that thing zip around. My dad's big in the military, so we go to air shows, and some will have like, you know, one whatever, pick a number, scale, and they're just huge. They're as big as this desk and stuff, and they take off. They fly by, and it sounds like a real plane going by, right? So it's really cool. That was like my old man hobby. Well, now these drones, I love cameras. I love like the ability to fly like some sort of like RC plane, and these are the same thing. They're just like little helicopters and stuff, but they're amazing. And with the ban and all that stuff with the U.S. and everybody thought it was just going to be DJI and a couple of Chinese companies or whatever, or I was going to say shell companies, but for the most part, from DJI, like spinoffs and stuff. But then when it came up, I think it was December 20th or whatever, it banned like all foreign drones. And I was like, okay, well, I got mine. So I got mine for the future at least. And I saw the Insta360 came out with one. So hopefully that's somewhat decent. We'll see. Motorbomb, Virginia. I definitely wore out my first SD card. I bet, man. Hey, man, good on you, man. You definitely use it. That means you use your motorcycle too, which is awesome. I didn't think it was possible, but I've done everything I could, and GoPro's failed. Right? Yeah. So you're chucking. Oh, GoPro's failed to write to it during. So you chuck the SD card, not the GoPro. Because you've got a couple GoPros. You've got one, what, on the handlebars. Oh, do you have Motorbomb, Virginia? You have 3 GoPros. So one's on your helmet, one's on your handlebars, and then you have one that usually looks behind you, right? I've never had problems. Well, I can't say never. I had one problem. The battery was swelling. And that's the thing, you got to watch out for these batteries. It's not a GoPro, but it's the same thing. The batteries are starting to swell, and you don't use it because it expands the housing on the inside, and it can do quite a bit. So I had one where I was coming home from work, the GoPro. The only problem I had it with, everything else was like human error, operator error. And I was checking the footage, and all of a sudden it was really weird. It like, the footage was going like almost like I was in the water, like I was just kind of like just like wavy, like some retro effect to it. And then it had like little like black ink blots like all over the place. It was weird. But I chucked the batteries after that. I was like, nah, I'm good. I was using it. I was being dumb. But I never had an issue with the SD card until, you know, getting the DJI Action 6, which I'll get into in a second. But getting this camera, I think GoPro caught wind of it and started messing around. So the 13, which I got last fall, well, the SD card stops writing. Like I'll hear like beep, 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 and I'll hear it because it's on my helmet. Eventually, if I'm going to change this, which I am looking to do, if I'm changing the GoPro 13 to my, isn't that like sign language or something? Either way. If I'm going to put it on the handlebars, I may not hear that. So I might have to leave the red dot blinking if it's recording. And I don't like that. I like, you talk about stealth, Lucky. I like when there's nothing like blinking, but if it's facing me and I don't want to have the actual image on the camera of it, you know, the picture of what it's previewing or whatever, what it's showing or recording, I'll probably leave that red dot on there because it's cut off on me twice now. And it says something about the write speed or something, but the SD card is good. The SD card is good. You can look at it, pop it open, and you can read not just how big the gigabytes are, but SanDisk is obviously a good one. That's the one I've always gotten extreme, blah blah whatever. And then there's like a V30. There's numbers on it that you have to look at. I think this was actually the drone, because I bought a new one for the drone. That's the original one for the drone, I think. Or I think that came with one of the action cams. But 32 gigabytes. We all know that's not enough. Okay, what we got here? Yeah, Modal always talk about, you sent me that thing. Yeah, no sweat here on break. I'm warming up too. I'm warming up. DJI Mic 2 is what you need. Yeah, I'm going to get into that. Maybe the extra. So the extra, We'll create, okay, let me finish reading. Maybe extra, we'll create one that is a mic 2, but with a different name. So, spoiler alert, boom, it's here. So, I'll get into that after finishing this. The extra is another one. So, the extra, the Osmo Pocket 3 and the extra are like virtually the same thing. And then there's another, there's like a drone, the Mini 5 Pro, or Mini 5, what do they call it? Mini 5 Pro. That one has like an identical, it's yellow, and I can't remember what the company is, but it's the same thing. Like virtually the same, even the interface and all that stuff. They're doing a comparison video, but as banned. So I can, Moto Alley, so you're in Canada, you get it all. But here, we get good weather, so I guess that's a plus. Here, we can get anything that was already approved before the date. So like the Action 6, you can still buy. The Mini 3, the Mini 2, mic minis, all that other stuff. Like the drones you can still buy, as long as when they come out with a new drone, I won't be able to get it. That's kind of what we're looking at. They did something too. I think they postponed something for a year, but I mean it was even like the French. I guess France has a drone too that got banned. And they didn't just ban the drones. They banned all like the parts of the drone that weren't like, was it FCC approved or something like that, some government agency, right? Or entity. Let's see. But the extra is like virtually the same thing, only like a fraction of the cost. All right. Lucky I got something about the mini mic mini. Let me catch up to everything here. Okay, here we go. Moto Alley and Lucky, I got you covered. I did the audio test today. So the mic mini and the mic 3. So here's the deal. Let me just finish reading. Give me a second. Hold on. Okay. Mic 2. Got you, Lucky. I got you. This is gonna be good. Yes, 3 GoPros. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I thought so. That's the one cool thing. I mean, if you get I've been a GoPro. I will not swear off GoPro. Like, honestly, I've had a couple issues. Not like what other people say that they constantly fail and all that stuff. The one I have, like I said, is the Hero 10. I've had that since that was, I guess, new, or the year it was new. And then the 13 I got last year. So I've had two issues with the SD card, and that could be the SD card. And then one time it was a battery issue, which you could say was operator error. So I will always, like, I'll vouch for. Let's see. I'll vouch for GoPro for sure, even if I don't continue to use it as my main camera right now. Yeah, so formatting Motobomb, that's good practice. I try to do it like whenever I can, or well, not I say whenever I can, because obviously, so there's a quick format. So here you go. You can format it anytime you get an SD card. I was told that you're supposed to format it in whatever device you're going to use it. Now, when you format it within the device, it obviously erases everything. It's a quick format. You actually need to go maybe once a month. This is what I try to do. I don't plan it like beginning or whatever. I just try to do it. But you should put it in a like a card reader, right? Or if you can put it directly into your laptop or whatever hub or something. But put it in there and don't do a quick format. Do just format the card. It's gonna take a lot longer, especially depending on how long. If it's 256 or 512 gigabytes, it's gonna take a lot longer to format. But that's like the cleanest way to do it, to format the card. So quick formats are good. It'll wipe everything off. But the actual format in the computer, uncheck the box that says quick format, or maybe you check it if you do a quick format. Either way, do the long version and it'll really clean it up pretty good. Okay, so Moto Alley, let's see, says I'm guessing it's because no fairing With my mic 2, I had to go to a wired mic. Okay, so you use... I did that test today too. All right, I used an external battery for all 3 of my GoPros. I've never used internal batteries ever unless I'm checking one out or something. Yeah. So I've always used the batteries, and that kind of gave me, like, when electric cars were out, there was like they had a thing called range anxiety, and that's me. Like, I always think, even the trip to go see Lucky and stuff, meet him in person, I was changing out batteries and stuff, and it would be so much nicer not to have to do that. So that's definitely a future upgrade. But me and batteries, you know, they don't work out so well. For the record, my bike is started every time. It just takes a while sometimes. Effort. When I had to push it up and down my driveway 5 times, I was huffing and puffing. My neighbor got a good show since he has actually all of them. They have ring cams and all that stuff. Let's see. I wonder if that SD card that failed me, if I use 1080p, which I won't, instead of 4K. I don't think it should matter how you're recording. Well, I take it back. If you're recording on higher demand, like the write speed, that's why I say, like, the cards have to be, you can look up, like, whatever like the V130, you know, and they have different ones or that. Certain ones, like the 360, Insta360 requires a very fast card, read, write speed, whatever the write speed, because it's taking in so much. And especially if you bump up to 60 frames or 120 frames a second, it's taking in so much. So it has to be able to process all that quickly. So that's why cards can fail, because they can be, it can be an underwhelming a card for what you're trying to put it through. So, like, certain things, like, I don't do it, but like horizontal lock or something, that's taking, you know, what's the other one? Oh gosh, I haven't used it. They call it Rocksteady here, but the hyper smooth and everything, to try to keep everything, you know, somewhat from bouncing around, especially on a bike, and you're shooting at 60 frames or 120 frames, you know, whatever, 30 frames. I mean, that's tough. I mean, it's a lot. That's a lot of processing power that cameras do, and then to be able to write it on, you know, a reputable mini SD card or whatever. Full format initially on your PC as well. Yeah, which I do from time to time. It takes a long time. That's one of the things, like, set it and forget. Talk about multitasking. Lucky, you mentioned that earlier about Moto Alley, but throw it in there, set it, and then work on something else. Work on your editing or whatever, and then let that thing just ride, because it takes a while. Like I said, depending on how many gigabytes you actually have on the card. All right, I think I'll just, yeah, gain goes -18 or -20 with the wired mic. Yeah, well, okay, perfect. So that's awesome. So you pretty much already you did what I did today, what it seems like. I got a couple things, and I'll just shout out about the difference between the, all right. I bought this to replace the newer. So these are the mic 3s, right? So it has a transmitter, 2 transmitters and 1 receiver, right? Transmitters here transmit the signal to the receiver. So easy way to remember it. This receives the signal. If you don't have this in play, then this is receiving your signal. Okay. So what I did was about a week and a half ago. Like I said, it's been busy. Okay. It's been busy around here. So I wanted to do a test video. So this is going back to this. We'll bounce to here. So new audio plan. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Here we go. I love it. I can talk about this nerd stuff. I'm really into it now. But I was in here in the man cave with the helmet on, and I had the mic 3, I had the mic 2 here, and I was just trying to, like, figure out where to put it, how to position it. What I have works. And ultimately, if these mics, these wireless mics, were going to cause less friction, but the audio was going to be poor, like you're saying, you can watch the most crisp 4K video, which this and the GoPro will provide, I'm willing to punt and go back to wired. My thing is, I just don't want to be, the rain is one thing, like I mentioned, fog, moisture in the air, you know, just after a rain, coming, puddles, spray, windshield wiper fluid, like the littlest stuff. It takes one little drop of moisture to ruin everything. So I didn't want to have that. And I wanted to go wireless because, this, I think the 13 has the ability too, but these have, I just took it off and I don't know where I put it. That's fine. But there's clamps. So, I mean, most of you probably know this, but there's a magnet here, right? There's a magnet, and on top of that, there's clamps to put it in place. So this, now, when I get off the bike or something, I can just unclamp this, and I'm good. I don't have to worry about. Let's see what, unplugging the USB-C here, power. Obviously, the more you do that, the more wear and tear you do internally on the GoPro, not just the cable here. And then you've been in it back and forth and all that stuff, and then taking this screw and unscrewing it to get to it, and then to remember to do the same thing only in reverse and hit the record button. It's not likely to happen every time. So having these two things, unclip, take off my from the inside of the helmet, I can walk around, I can leave this on the helmet, I can set it down, picnic table, whatever, on a bench post. I can put it on the Gorilla that I have behind me with the green light, and then I can just talk through here. Perfect, right? Not low effort, low friction. That's what this could have been called, instead of chasing perfection. So what did I do? All right, I tested it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I was using the Mic 3, right? The Mic 3, because you mentioned, oops, so good? Yep. You mentioned in the chat about a lower profile, right? So the Mic 3, the clip actually comes off. You can see that? So it's magnet, clip comes off. So it actually, I mean, it's pretty damn thin, right? It can be much lower, smaller profile, right? So I put the Mic 3, I put it to negative 12 decibels, right? Negative 12 dB. So like Modali was talking about, negative 10 wasn't enough, or negative 8 wasn't enough, whatever it was. So you got down to 18 or 10. This can only go, the 6, the only one I know about for action cams, for DJI, this can go to negative 12 dB, okay? Negative 12 decibels. That's not enough, okay? Negative 12 decibels is not enough for the motorcycle. And when I put it in my helmet, it was decent. When I close my visor, that's when the pressure changes. That's when you have echoes, things reverberating, right? Sound waves, all that other stuff. This thing got destroyed. So I have footage of that. I did it today. So I did all these tests. I already knew that was not going to work. I talked about it. I took a ride. 75-degree weather, 73-degree weather. No big deal. And I told everything through the GoPro, right? The wired mic, how I've done it for the last 3.5 years. And then I said what was gonna happen to this. I started talking. I closed the visor, and I haven't reviewed all the footage, but I already know. I clicked a couple of spots and on some videos or video files, and sure enough, that's what it did. What happens is, it turns out really good. And I'm talking like I had originally, I had some setup. Let me tell you, this is what's left of a wrench that comes with some furniture piece, right, that we've had. So my wife, who throws away everything, saved this. She saved, well, not just this, but like 3 or 4 almost identical ones, right? So I had this in my cheek pad, and I had it like this. So it wasn't even somewhere around here, right? So my mic normally, as you saw earlier, pokes in the cheek pad, in between cheek pad, like right here. Okay, so I had this somewhat in a similar position. I didn't want to have it in front of my mouth. I had the these dead cats, which I had no idea about. These dead cats, it comes with a black set and a gray set. The black set, if you get these, the black set is not as good as these. Block out more wind. Okay, the gray ones. These are more heavy duty. I did not have this. I had it today though. So I had the black ones on. It's more like, inside or something, or if there's like, I don't know. It's supposed to be either don't wear anything at all, or you wear the black one if it's inside. If you're outside, you should probably wear this one. I thought it was more of a cosmetic thing, to be honest with you. That if you're wearing a light colored, you can use this. If you're wearing, black or something, you'd wear the black one. But there you go. In case you didn't know, that's what these are. American Outlaw Rascal, what's up, dude? Actually, since you're here, I am a little thirsty. See that pinky? I was way up there. All right. So you're in the middle of a nerd conversation. So I went out there, and the first day I did it, I knew it wasn't right, but I was like, I got to try it. Helmet, got on the bike, took off, and I was also testing the Action 6. I was also testing the night mode, and that's the reason why. Honestly, there's a couple reasons. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to get this is because they were offering a like a night mode or something, and it had something to do with that. The sensor size is bigger than the GoPro, and it's got a variable aperture. It's the only action camera that has variable aperture, so it can, depend on low light, and it could potentially, give you a better quality image. I still want to test it at night with the GoPro in its normal setting and tweak it a little bit, but it was a disaster, and that's kind of down the road. I'll let you know about that, based on where's my button? This the letdown part. So I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, the audio was terrible. It was muffled. What it sounds like almost sounds like you're underwater, and that's from the visor. So I came back. I was disappointed. I was really disappointed because this was last week, and I had no time. I told you, between working the fire department and then working overtime. Not having any free time, it was just in my head, right? Not a big deal, working and not having free time, working overtime or whatever. I signed up for it. I'm talking about, don't hit that button. Don't hit that button. Please stop. Just go right there. There's so much crap right here. Anyway, there's so much. It was just the fact that it was in my head, and I was going to think about it for a week, a week and a half before I was able to actually go for another ride. So I don't know, that bugs me because I'm constantly thinking about, hey, I really want to fix this, but I can't ride to work. I can't, it's like, because every day after work, I take my gear to the training academy and all this other stuff. So there's just no time for it. All right, let me catch up real quick, and then I'll get into, so the Mic 3s were a disaster. As far as that. So I want to give you a heads up on that. The processing is different, and I'll get into that after I catch up with the comments. The Mic 2 and the Mic 3 are not the same for several reasons. I'll get into that in a second. Obviously, the Mic 3 is newer. Doesn't mean it's better. So I'll get on that. Try to catch up. Okay, so modality. I'm also talking about the Osmo 4. Okay, you and I know you and Lucky going back and forth on some stuff. So let's see. The size is a factor for the SD card. What I've noticed is 1080p at 60 frames a second on super wide is equivalent to 4K 24 at 30 frames at wide or super wide. Okay, let me think that. Size is a factor in SD card. Okay, I overkill on the SD cards because I never want to have to. I always clean them out like after the ride, but I always want to have enough for that chance that I actually do a longer ride. Like going down to see Lucky, filming all the way there and all the way back. And then the 360 was its own. Like I never changed. I meant to go back and look at how much footage it was, how many gigabytes. It was something stupid. It was like, I don't even want to try to guess. I'll have to come up with it later. But how many hours like stacked on? It was crazy. It was a 2-hour ride, but between the interview and all that other stuff, I mean, it was 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like, yeah, it was like almost 7 hours of total footage, like end over end, not counting like the two cameras that were going back and forth. Because 2 hours there, 2 hours back, an hour and a half podcast, hour 45 podcast, something like that. And then another 30 plus minutes riding around. Let's see. You can trust those clamps. Just make sure that the hooks are actually on. Yeah. So the clamp, yeah, the magnets are tough, but not tough enough to where. And I was talking to you. We were going back and forth last night. I think it was, right. Yeah. I bought a small rig, which is the company small rig, and essentially it just it's housing for it in case I drop it, which is one thing. I'm sure they're pretty tough if they're like GoPros, but it's made out of metal, which is awesome. But it also has these probably 1/4 inch. I think there's a 1/4 inch turns. Yeah, 1/4 inch screws. Boom, that you can mount it there, or there. So I can put it on the GorillaPod or the tripod or something like that. And I will be using it because I'm not buying another camera if I have all these action cameras sitting around just to film me, like, or B-roll or something like that for, you know, the other channel or whatever. Slide that back on, but it adds a lot of weight. It's very, seems pretty durable, but it adds some weight. Let's see. Yeah, so I will definitely. It actually makes me nervous. Those clamps make me nervous because I want to make sure that boom, that they clip, they snap. If you decide to go on a wired route, no need for an adapter. Just tuck the wire end into the helmet and cheek pad. I'm not sure if you're talking to me or Lucky, but I'm gonna get into that in a second too. Fire moto. If you went wired, I wonder if you could go down to negative 18 dB. Willing to bet that 15 would be where you need to be. All right, so here's the deal. Once again, you can go down negative 12 dB with the Action 6. Here, use the mic 3. I can take the receiver, nerd talk. I can take the receiver, and I can go negative 12 dB here. So this right now is negative 12 dB. If I were talking it, it's already negative 12. You can stack those, and it still wasn't good enough. So that's why I say, I don't know about the mic minis, but the mic 3s are not where it's at to end a sentence with a preposition. So, yeah, didn't work. So the next step was, I said, all right, well, let me try. And once again, it was not by my mouth. It was over here. My normal mic's here, probably like right here. This was like up here. So the next step was the mic 2. I said, all right, well, let me try this. I only have one of these. It came with a set for something else that is over here. And if you can see in there, there's a hole in there. Anyway, it's an audio jack. There we go. You can see it there. Boom. And wait, look at that. Sleight of hand. Okay. So this dead cat right here, you can see there, has that where you can stick it in. Boom. There you go. What I did was I tried this, and for some reason it didn't work out very well. I'll spare you the details on that, or at least I thought it wasn't working well. And then what I did was I plugged in my lav mic to this transmitter, lav mic plugged in here, and it worked fine. These were all tested in the man cave. So I had to wait a week, a little over a week to today to do this, filmed it all. I'll make that video sometime next week, or release it sometime next week. So today I changed something around. I took this wrench and cut it. It's not, the resale value is going from nothing to nothing again. So that's fine. I don't think she'll miss this. So I cut this wrench just for the metal because this magnet is pretty tough. So I cut that off. I lost the piece. I did it at work. I lost it. So I cut it again last night when my bike started. I cut it last night. Actually used a hacksaw for it. And then I also took the top of a candle. My candle, she won't miss it. And I cut that piece. Use a Dremel and cut that out. All right, I tell you all that. Oop, there we go. Everything's fine. I put it in my face piece. I didn't want to glue anything. I bought some gaffer's tape. If you don't know what gaffer's tape is, essentially it's just, I'm telling you, everything is here. Everything is in front of me. So gaffer's tape is like camera tape or whatever. Essentially, it's like duct tape. It's very, It adheres to a lot of things. So like carpet, rug, concrete, wood, whatever, plastic, cameras, all that other stuff. You tape down, like in the media team, we were taping wires down so it wouldn't be a tripping hazard and stuff. But the cool thing about it is when you pull it up, it doesn't leave the residue. That's gaffer's tape or camera tape or something like that if you hear it from other stuff. Real cheap, get a roll for like $6, whatever. So I got that. I put the metal piece. I ended up going this route because it was thicker and it was doing better than I trusted it more than that little bit of tin. And I put it on the inside of my helmet. So currently, right now, on the inside of the helmet, I probably shouldn't have done that. Probably got dog hair. It's fine. On the inside of the helmet, you won't be able to see it. I'm gonna put pictures and stuff and show all this on the actual video. But I was able to put it at like a 45 degree angle from my mouth. And I taped it in there. The problem is I just want to tape it in there and find a place. I'm actually going to glue it in place because it worked. Ended up working. I just need to find out exactly where to put it. And just a heads up too, I had put, like, if I'm wearing my helmet right now, I had the mic 3. I had it essentially like here. I had it obviously here when it was sticking out above just to test. I wasn't gonna leave it up there, but I had it here. I had it turned inward into the cheek pad because I saw someone on YouTube did that there, and there was no difference. And even online, I could hear people run into the same problem, and some people are okay with it. I mean, it is what it is. I just want I want to find like the best way to do something, and I want it to sound the best for my own ears. I'll be my own worst critic when it comes to it. So I put it in today, and this was a ticket. The mic 2 was a ticket. I plugged in a lav mic, and last night I was getting feedback. I don't know if it was from the magnet, the metal, the wires touching, or something like that. I don't know, but I was getting feedback for some reason, and obviously noticeable to me. I don't know if it came through on the motorcycle, but if I were to turn the motorcycle off and walk away with the camera and you heard feedback, that wouldn't cut it for me. I wouldn't like it. So maybe that was just a weird glitch, coincidence, or something like that, being around all this other stuff or whatever. I don't know. I'll have to review the footage. But the exciting part was the mic 2. So all I've done is pick a couple spots in that video. I haven't had time to really look into it because, like I said, I rode today in it. And it sounded good. So where I hope I watched the rest of the video and it sounds just as good, but I'm really excited about it. I think that's the way. That's a ticket, because I was looking at the hybrid system where I was looking for essentially to ditch all the outside here. I need to get either a chin mount, or I even saw they have clamps. But the reason why I'm kind of opposed to the clamp is, once again, I have to have the mic in here, Fallon. I have to have the mic in here. I don't know how far that's going to go. I have this little, what do you call it, chin curtain here. So I don't know how that's going to go as far as the clamp. So the chin mount is probably the best way. But this, extra weight with the metal and all that stuff, I just want to get away from it. So having the chin mount, and that's why I want to see, am I getting a new helmet? I want to wait and see all about that. But I'll be able to ditch this. I can potentially ditch this whole thing. I can center it, because for years, it may not look crooked here, but this has been slightly crooked. Chasing perfection, except for the angle of the GoPro, the mount. So anyway, I'm excited. I think it's going to work. So my hybrid system, where I thought I was going to have to go, was ditching the outside, wired the lav mic, used the same lav mic I've always used, into the transmitter that would be inside the helmet. This would wirelessly transmit to the receiver. In this case, would be the camera. Boom. That's the most nerd talk I think I've ever had on this channel. You're welcome. Now time to wake up. Everybody wake up. That's funny. All right. Let me catch you up. Bum, bum, bum. So that's the problem. If the camera could achieve past -12, I wonder if it would work. So Moto Alley, you mentioned -15, -18 dB. Is that you've got an action cam too, right? DJI Osmo, whatever, blah blah blah. Such a long name. DJI Osmo Action 6. It's like someone with like a hyphenate last name or 2 middle names. So mine can only go to -12. I don't know if what you have can go further. So you might be able to rock out a different mic. Okay. Lucky says it might be worth trying the DJI lav mic plugged in to the wireless mic. Yeah. That's what I use. Modality suggested and it worked for me. Yeah, absolutely. Then that's in that wall. I mean, I just said it, but that's exactly the route I was going to go. That's the route I thought I was going to go. But the mic 2 does work. So good call. Yeah, your audio is good. And Moto Alley, I know you fought with that for a while last year, and I commend you for that because one, obviously it shows that you care, but two, like, man, like, it's a grind, right? It's a grind, but finding the right audio, and then what I did do too, and I didn't say this, but I took, like I said, these are going to be more for, I hate to say vlog, but you know what I mean. If I walk around with this, that's one thing. But I clipped it on the inside of my saddlebag. Originally, I clipped it just under, and I was recording internally, which is cool. I clipped it under the saddlebag opposite of the exhaust. And then when I finished with the other mic 3, I clipped that in the saddlebag with the exhaust, the side with the exhaust. And then after, because I kept doing all these tests, it was awesome. I clipped it to my back pocket, which I haven't looked at listened to any of the footage or whatever. There's a noise cancellation on there too. You have to be hooked up, from what I read last night, to access it. You have to be hooked up to some sort of Bluetooth device. So if I'm hooked up to, if I use this as the mic, I can have this as a second track, from what I understand, and then I could do that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But it gets weird when you start doing noise cancellation. It gets like robotic, digital, kind of. It's weird. So we'll see how that turns out. But that's for another day. Let's see. Rascal. So Modal, I wonder what you said it didn't work for you. Do you have what's your camera? What's officially your camera? And then where are you using? I guess you'd have to be using the mic too, because that's the only one that has the ability to plug in the lavalier through the 3.5 millimeter jack. Okay, so Lucky, you do use the noise cancellation. Monsterade. They do have like isn't it like Frost, the Gatorade? That's Frost. That's white. Monsterade. Put the wires in the mic right in the camera, right into the camera. Yeah, doing that with my setup minus 18 dB. So Model, you had to tell me how you get minus 18 dB. And I know I can do it in post, but I'm trying to do it. And these offer, I'm learning all this stuff, but the 2 and the 3 offer 32-bit float, which I thought was helping for peaking, but it helps to recover if you do get too high up. Tape it to your forehead. Problem solved. That's it. Man, where were you like 8 hours ago? I had it at one point. I mean, I was just trying to get away from my mouth, and there's only so many parts you can put it. I had it in the cheek pad, and I was like it was pushing into me like this, and I was like, man, I can't write like this. I was fully prepared, and if it doesn't work, I'm still prepared to go back to my old setup, because they offer some sort of connection, a wired connection. Yeah, so great point, Moto Alley. So you said the feedback could be from the plug inside the mic 2 or the lav mic. The lav mic's been checked out, and if you're right, because if you don't plug push in the audio jack all the way in, you can get some of that feedback. But I unplugged it and plugged it back in. I was still getting it, which it didn't do it the first time. I'm not really sure what was different. There's a piece of metal. That's the only thing that was different. There was a piece of metal in there because the magnet was already there. So audio can get finicky for sure. And then, and you mentioned this too, or the lav mic. The lav mic does work, but maybe that lav mic is probably what you're saying. Maybe that particular lav mic is having issues with that DJI. And that lav mic's, like I said, It's old. And I bought it in 2022. So even though it works for the GoPro, it may not work. And because I bought that audio adapter about the same time, so same period. So maybe a different lav mic would work for sure. Okay, so Moto Alley, to tell me down. DJI wired lav mic. So TRS and the TRRS. Can't remember. Yeah, that's funny because one of them is two lines or something like that. Yeah, but that's good that you knew that. Harmonic TRS or the TRRS. One of them's got like 3 lines. One of them's 2, I think, something like that. But it depends on the audio jack. That's right. Can't remember to a C plug. Right into the DJI Osmo 6. Okay, so you got the Osmo going backwards. USB plugged in. Wired lav mic. So you actually have the DJI lav mic itself. Okay, I got it. I saw that was for sale too. Once I did that, I was able to get it down to negative 18 dB. Okay, I got you. Spoked in the eye, Moto. I always call you spoked in the eye. I gotta say Moto. What's up, man? What's up? What's up? Thanks for tuning in. Back to work and listening. Yeah, do your thing, Moto Alley. Don't break anything on the forklift. Okay, all right. Another Canadian. We're being overrun by Canadians. Hopefully your weather's getting better. I was talking about that. The spring is coming. All right, that's audio. That's a lot. That's some nerd talk right there. That is audio. Okay, so now let's go to field of view. This is quick. Field of view change. I can leave it there. All right. So I noticed anytime you change, I've had GoPro for, like I said, 3.5 years or whatever. I've been rocking GoPro between the 10 and the 13, just flip flopping between what I use on the handlebars, what I use on my helmet. And anytime you get whatever, like the normal view is for a GoPro is going to be the normal view for the whatever action cam, fill in the blank, is going to be different. The 360 that I had, this one right here, the Action 6 is going to be different. So I prefer, like, I think what they call it super view. It's like super wide, but they call it super view for GoPro. So you're like, I don't exactly know what millimeter like lens it would equate to. It does say that, but you just go from essentially being able to see, whatever. You go from here as normal, you wide, or widest. And I like the widest because I like to be able to see like all the handlebars. There's some people that, and it has an advantage, and I'll get to that in a second. There's some people that have a more narrow look where you don't really see the handlebars, or you see it on the turn, obviously. But it's, the speedo, it's the main portion of the handlebars, right, coming into the, the essentially the front tire maybe or something or whatever. But you see it the center of the bike. And the more tucked in you are, the faster it looks like you're going, right? So that's why I say there's a benefit to that. I ride a Honda Shadow 750. So there's not speed related to my motovlogs, okay? Full disclosure. So I'm not worried about looking faster or, turning the bike and, going around the twisties, as they say, but taking a turn and make it look like I'm going faster. You can see the speedometer. You can see it. I have nothing to do to show off or whatever. So I like the wide view because I like to be able to show more or see more or whatever, right? That's my personal, like, desire when I, the audio, like I said, and now the video portion of it. When I filmed, and I'll get into that night ride, when I filmed the low light, it was like 8 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it was. Took my trip at night. When you do a super wide view, what do they call it here? I'll just super view, and it's ultra wide. I think it's called ultra wide here. Is there a battery in here? There's not a battery in here. So anyway, it's called ultra wide. I remembered it. I don't need a battery. All right, what did I say about batteries? We're not friends right now. Batteries and me are not friends. Here's the battery. Moving on. So when it does that for DJI, instead of having just a wide view, it has a warping effect. And one thing with the 360, the Insta 360, is when I put it into Premiere Pro, I would have to take the plug-in for it where I could actually edit the footage, not on the studio side or the 360 studio, but where I had full range, full control was on Premiere Pro. I downloaded the plug, put it in, and you could dewarp it, make it 4K, 60 frames. You know, the ratio, 4K ratio, 38, I always forget, 3800 something, 20, 40, 60, whatever, by 20 something, 2160. That's probably somewhere around there. Anyway, just like your 1080p, right? 1920 by 1080. All right, I had to say it. It's in my head. Spit it out. Okay. So, oh man, just talk. You got it. Just talk. I had to say it. I don't know why I had to say that. Moving on. So, what was I even talking about? Yeah, moving on. Oh, dewarp. So you could dewarp it. Okay. Golly, man. Is this entertaining? Is it? I don't know. I hope it is. Thanks for hanging out, guys. So, when you did the ultra wide, it would warp the image, and I don't like that. It made the bike look super small, right? Because essentially, like, it was beyond my hands. So everything was in the picture, which is awesome. I'm a mess. But the bike looked small and it looked warped, and I don't like it. I don't like, it makes you look like you have toothpicks for arms and stuff like that, and it's just, the image to me looks weird. So I was like, all right, let me punt. Let me try it today. I didn't really do it on purpose today, but I changed some field of view because I wanted to concentrate on the audio, and I did a little bit of video, and it was funny because my mount is crooked. I think when I went to a more narrow, it was very exaggerated how crooked it was, maybe more so because I'm narrow. And I think if I'm riding a motorcycle and looking straight like this, to make it stay straight, I was like having to turn my head like this to make the camera look straight. So yeah, obviously more forgiving if you're further away. I don't have to do this. Everything's in view. So I think that's what it was. It had nothing to do with the camera. It has everything to do with me zooming in, and I've not zoomed in because the GoPro has always been super view versus ultra wide, which is just their thing. Just like the hyper smooth for GoPro is called rock steady here. Anyway. Oh man, it's a mess. So field of view, I got to work on that. That's probably a fix. Maybe, like I said, if I do the helmet, I just got to figure out if I'm getting a chin mount, am I getting it for this helmet, or am I getting it for, potentially a new helmet? So that's that. All right, moving on. Dude, it's a mess. Boom, next. No more commentary. All right, so this was awesome. And I can actually go to the next slide on this too. So I took this picture last night. Yeah. What is? All right. So this was the video that I did, like I'm 19 episodes in, something like that. 19 episodes in, and I can actually do this. Let me do this. Go here. Oh yeah, look at that. Boom. I worked hard on that green light. You gotta show it off, right? So this was cool. This was I mentioned it in the last live that I wanted to do a video. I'll try to explain this right. Yeah, and to answer Motobomb Virginia, one of those GoPro. Yes, I use the auto horizon leveling. I have never used it. Are you saying you have used it or haven't? I haven't used it because I just like to go wherever my head is, but it does have I do see a purpose for it for sure. But going into this, I'm sorry. This video here, man, this is exactly what I wanted. And what I mean by that is everybody here that's in the chat right now has a channel. Okay. We all have our own bike. We all have our own motorcycle. We all have our own personality, right? Everybody here talks on camera. American Outlaw, you have a bike. You and your son have a bike, right? Or your son has a bike, and you're gonna help him. So, um, but just you get what I'm saying. Like everybody here has a personality. This right here is not about personality. And I said that I wanted to do one of these a month. And starting out, like I said, I have 19 actual videos. I think two of them were like highlight videos of lives and stuff that I count. No, I don't count that. I'm sorry. Those aren't counted. So I had 19 videos of motovlogs. I am not for everybody, and I never will be for everybody. But it was so cool to make something that was essentially a sunset, a ride, and then just the outside noise. The ironic thing was I guess maybe the funny thing, maybe not ironic, but the funny thing was I actually edited a lot because the wind was really bad here, and a lot of times me talking kind of like masked the wind a little bit. And I went to Adobe Audition and I got rid of a lot of the wind noise and I completely uploaded the original. So that was pretty good. I worked 30 minutes or so and got rid of a lot of the wind, and it sounded pretty damn good. And then this happened. Yeah, I uploaded the wrong one. But either way, the cool thing about this is it blew away my expectations. It blew away like the most viewed video. It doubled up on the most viewed video on my channel. Watch hours, subscribers, all that good stuff. It is what it is. It's YouTube, right? So there's numbers. I'm always going to follow numbers. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you loved motorcycles. It didn't matter if you just loved, watching people ride their motorcycle. It didn't matter if you loved the Honda Shadow specifically. It was just a cool video where it's me not talking, and it was just cool. It was just cool to see. I got some good comments. I should have probably got the comments in place too, and talked about that a bit. But therapeutic, potentially. It was, just one of those things, those who can't ride. It was just a remembering. It was a lot of things. It was whatever you want it to be, the people that actually watched it. And I'm proud of that video because the other thing is, if you look at the thumbnail in the top left, I didn't put any words. I didn't put any arrows. I didn't do any of that stuff. I don't play YouTube's game. I kind of do my own thing, right? And just let the image speak for itself. And without getting too deep on that, because I won't. But that was freaking awesome. Okay, for to be able to do that and other people at least to like it enough to whatever, leave a comment, like it, watch it, do whatever. I will not, no matter what. And I told myself this ahead of time. If that video would have had 10x those views, right? So it had 8,000, and it's still getting watched. Today it's got another 20 or 30 views or something like that or whatever. If that video ends up getting like 8,000 views and whatever, good. Guess what? I'm still doing one a month. And I told myself I was going to do that. So that's really cool to see something like that kind of do what it's doing, and that's not huge by any sense of the word, or as far as numbers and stuff like that. But as far as like my channel, I'll get between 50 and I don't even know. There's videos that have hundreds of views, but I didn't. This is just fun, okay? It's just cool. I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers, but it's so cool to see that that was just something that you didn't have to give a damn about me, the bike, the location I was at. It was just a cool video to be able to see. So we'll leave it at that. Let's see. Lucky says these no commentary videos are nice to keep on hand to release if you're short on time, or if the weather is bad and can't ride. Yeah. And I think that my goal, and I mentioned it last, I won't get too much into it because it's more about this video, not the overall concept of it. But I want to go to, this was where I was today when I was riding, kind of like the farming area and stuff like that, the countryside of Chesapeake. Virginia Beach is right there, right at the cusp of that. Moyock, North Carolina, right on the border. Going to Norfolk, downtown Norfolk, going to the ocean front, Virginia Beach, ocean front. riding around there. I want to go to different places, seeing the Coliseum, seeing the Scope, where the concerts and hockey and all that stuff's played over there. But I want to go around town and say, hey, it's not always gonna be a sunset ride. The back roads, I already got a map planned, which may be March, maybe the video. Haven't shot it, but I want to mess with ND filters. I want to mess with potentially. That's why I did these tests today, changing the audio, because if I hit a bump and it kind of knocks the wind out of you a little bit sometimes, so like you just kind of breathe out a little bit. Well, that's picked up on here a couple times where I hit a bump towards the end and you can hear me. I held in a cough on this at the end. I held in a cough as long as I could, and that's not having this by my mouth would be even better, to take that ride, that 10-minute ride and all that stuff. And that's my goal, is just like a 10-minute, 15-minute ride. I'm not trying to do 30 minutes or an hour or anything like that. I'm not trying to do that. And I'm not trying to do, I think, well, I'm not even close to it, but like I'm not trying to do 8 minutes, because 8 minutes I think you can put mid-roll ads and stuff like that. I'm not trying to play that game. I'm just trying to find, when I stopped this ride is when I started encountering red lights, and I didn't want that to be in there, so I cut it. It could have been 15, 18 minutes or whatever, but I cut it at 13 and change. What is it? 12:49. So that's that. But it's really cool. And you're 100% right. This right here, I don't have schedules. Feel relieved on that. Less friction, not having schedules. I know you do, and I know I did. But these could be a gem for you to be able to like insert into your timeline, as I know you've done a couple with different bikes and stuff. Pause mode is in. Ben does it in Australia. He'll have, God, I said an hour ride. He'll have like 3 hours with 360. I can only imagine how long it would take to upload that to YouTube, or to render it, or do whatever to export it. But yeah, I know it's just one of the things I want to do, and it was really cool to see that. I guess the right word is that's a video that resonates with the motovlog or motorcycle community more so than a motovlog. It's just a cool ride, and it's a good. Not saying it's because it's mine, but the picture itself and the ride, dial in the audio, dial in the video a little bit better, and that's a selling point to get people into riding, and that's another way I kind of look into it. So that'd be fun to do. But I'm trying to stack that, where if I shoot a motovlog, and then if I want to go somewhere and do that, I can do that too. Try to stack some stuff. Restless Mule, almost just in time, dude. Hold on, because what's next here? Go here, dude. It was almost like perfect timing. Let me see. Is that next? Oh, never mind. Get that bum ba-dum. DJI Action 6 letdown. Mule's in the house. What's up, dude? So you missed a boring conversation about audio tests, which don't worry, because I'm going to make a video about it. I made it today. So we had Restless Mule, you probably had better weather than we did. We had 73, 75 degree weather today. So it was freaking nice. So I could only imagine Texas. Y'all probably fared pretty well over there. I alluded to the DJI Action 6, the letdown. The letdown portion that I'm at right now, I'm fighting with the field of view. I'll fix that. But I told you one of the main reasons why I bought this camera was I love riding at night. My favorite time is probably the evening. But riding at night, I'm talking midnight, doesn't matter. Just to get out there and ride. Back roads, dangerous, I know, but my middle name, right? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not watching out for kangaroos, just deer. The riding at night is a whole different atmosphere, right? Especially summertime when it's 90 plus degrees, whatever, 100-degree days, heat index, all that other stuff. And then you ride at night and it's like, it might be humid, but you're moving and it's like 70 degrees, 72, 75. It feels nice, especially if you're in the heat of summer where you're used to 90-degree days. And then you ride at 75 degrees, it feels awesome. So I'll always ride, but I want to be able to bring the camera and film and do some night rides. They are not. I don't really see anybody do them. Who was it? Randomly Trees. He pops in once in a while here, but friend of the channel, friend of, one of the deals. I watch his videos. I watch his 2 videos popped up. Busy, didn't get a chance, so I watched it last night. Caught up on a lot of motovlogs, and he was talking about. I guess he was going home because it was getting darker, and randomly trees. There's trees all over the place. So really cool, like setting. His neck of the woods. Oh, no pun, but pun intended. And it was getting really dark, so you can only see so much and everything. And there's not. I've done a few early morning or night rides, but mostly morning going to work. But people don't typically do motovlogs. They don't typically film and do a motovlog at night or in the dark. We'll just call it in the dark. And I want to change that. I really do. GoPro is not very good. It's all about, well, not all about. It has a lot to do with sensor size. The sensor size, a camera can do better, a larger sensor size. My drone will do better than the Action Cam. This Action Cam, the Osmo, has a bigger sensor size than the GoPro. So I was trying night mode. I took a ride, went to go get fuel. I was testing out the mic as I was, talking about earlier. The mic failed. The warping, the super wide view or the ultra wide view, that failed in my eyes. Excuse me. Hopefully that was lower decibel. You didn't hear it. We'll see. Anyway, this mode probably works, but I would say that the low light mode, the night mode, probably works if you're walking around. If you're riding 50 miles an hour at 4K 60 frames a second, it doesn't work. So I could see, but when you look at the sky, there's a lot of noise, okay? You can only do so much. It's not a gimmick. I just think that it's better. It was advertised for low speed, walking around. I want to say I watched a video where somebody was walking around in an amusement park, so there's a lot of lights, but it was still at night, and it looked really well. It looked nice in comparison. And I still want to do a video in comparison. I have it was a whole motovlog, but I'm going to scrap it because the audio is bad, the video is bad, but I'll be able to extract some of the B-roll from it and my talking points. The big thing I noticed was if you look at the sky should have been black, right? Or the darkest. It turned into a light gray is what it did. So you can see the clouds. So it was really doing a good job as far as like extracting the data, the colors and stuff. But then all the clouds became light gray and very noisy, right? Which you still could get by with that. Once again, like Lucky was saying, and we mentioned earlier, fantastic audio, terrible video, is still doable, right? So I was like, all right, well, it's not great, and it's probably not something I would use. But the deciding factor, and once again, I'll put this in a video down the road, but the clouds were like jumping. Okay, they were like almost like pulsating in a way, and what that was, what I'm going to call it, is the dynamic range that it does, the ISO, and then the processing, whatever it is. Combine all three of those, take two of those. I don't know. But it was fighting because I'm flying down the road, the speed limit. It is 50 miles an hour down the boulevard, and 60 frames a second, and it's trying to keep track of all this. So it recorded everything. It just didn't record it to my liking, and I don't think anybody would like that. So I still want to do a camera test, put the GoPro forward. And I actually did this, but like I said, this is B-roll. I had the GoPro on my handlebars facing forward, and I had the Action 6 on my helmet facing forward, obviously. That would be weird. And I was going to compare them. Now what I want to do is I want to do the same test, but put this in just a regular video mode. And then I'll work on the settings a little bit here and there as far as what I want to do. I'll probably just leave everything in auto, to be honest with you, just because it's a simple test. And then down the road, maybe I can dial it in. But I really, really, really want to be able to film at night. And there's certain places you can film. I'm not talking like randomly trees in the backwoods and stuff like that, where there's limited light or the only light is headlights. I'm not talking about that. But if I'm traveling down the same boulevard and there's lights overhead every X amount of feet or whatever, every 100 feet or something like that, every 200 feet. There's lights overhead. There's traffic lights. There's commercial businesses with lights. You can see that. Interstate, hit or miss, or some places on the interstate. But there's places that I can go that I can film, and I want to film at night because honestly, I don't know if people, and y'all could hit me up. What's that? I gotta catch up to that. Sorry. Um, I don't know if people don't do it because they don't think anybody's gonna watch it. Take me out of the equation. But if you saw a motovlog that was halfway decent at night and good audio, great audio, whatever, would you watch it? And I'm not talking about me. I'm just talking about in just for reference, because I would. If y'all filmed something at night and you could see, I'm not saying you could only see like your headlight in 5 feet in front of you. I'm talking about you could see somewhat decent. The streets and everything's illuminated and all that stuff. It's not terrible. I don't know. I don't know why people don't do it or don't try it. I'm gonna try it. I've already done it. I've already tried it in the previous channel, the previous dimension. And yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It gives you the ability to ride at night and to film and stuff. And I don't know. I'm gonna look into it again. That chapter is not quite over yet. All right, let me catch up. I think spoke to the eye. I think you're saying no need for the moto. If I just call you spoke to the eye, I think that's what you're saying. I try to use your whole name, and same thing as like Lucky Aces. I say Lucky Aces Riding. So if anybody hears me and they want to look up the channel, and then the second time I might, if I'm talking about him, I might say Lucky. But that way, you get, I don't say credit, but people can find you. Let's see. Okay, boom, got that horizontal. Or horizon lock. Okay, now I was way too high up. Okay, I just spit and a bubble came out. It's not a big deal. I am on the foam team, so that was probably fire department foam team. So we deal with bubbles. Maybe that's why. I was destined for it. Oh, I've talked so much, Restless. I don't know what you mean. We call that a trip. I have no idea. I have no idea. I've talked so much. I watch motovlogs of sports bikes riding at night. Yeah, and I think that's more like because it's in the city and you can see them, and that's what I think. I think it's all about. It depends on your destination or your environment where you're going. Do a wheelie at night. They ain't no wheelies from me. I don't have OBS, so I have fishtailed once or twice. I don't want to do that. I got a better chance doing a stoppie than a wheelie. Yeah, I've watched them run away from cops at night. It's always fun. There's one video where they had the police helicopter and he dives under, I think it was just before a tunnel or overpass. He's underneath the bridge or whatever, and he hides and he's watching. Yeah, I think it starts at a gas station, but that was a night ride, a trip. Was for you flashing the cloud. Okay. No drugs, man. No drugs. Just say no. What was that? DARE. Anybody else have DARE? I don't know what it stood for. The acronym DARE in school. I remember my police officer coming in and telling us don't do drugs. Yeah. I was coked up on Monsters energy drinks. All right. Let's go to the next one. Bam. All right, so last one. The Mule is en route. So this is very, like I said, this is some pretty damn good time in there, Restless Mule. Oh, I got to do this. Why is it looking like that? We'll go back. We'll go back to this. All right, it's happening. I hit you up. I actually shot him a text, and I said it's going down. So I talked about it. Porting the podcast over between Restless Mule and Moto Alley. So they were the original. If you remember, or new to channel, whoever sees this or whatever. Episode 99. You can't see it because I'm not quite in the way. But episode 99 on the other channel. I got to like 134, 130 something. But 99 was the first like podcast interview, whatever. I'm going podcast from now on. I'm a Barbara Walters, a Temu version. I think I talked about that being a Temu version of Barbara Walters, and it shows. Mule, I watched this all the way through, or listened to it, watched it, or whatever, a couple times, like throughout the day at work, and it was really cool, man. Honestly, I had a really good time doing this. It was the first time that we did anything like this, I guess. You had an interview too on your channel, which was pretty cool. I know you were talking about some mic issues or whatever, but I couldn't tell. So you mentioned something about that afterwards. But man, this is a lot of fun. It's being able to talk to y'all, like, so the lives, I've said it before. If I make a video and I post it and y'all leave a comment and I reply to the comment, it could be hours difference, right? And then the lives are awesome because here I got y'all, and I'm tripping now. See, I shouldn't have read anything and throw me off, man. Thanks a lot. Spoked in the eye, Moto. So anyway, don't look at my eyeballs. So it's just cool. The lives are neat because even though you're distracting me, it's real time, and this is almost like, I was thinking about it the other day. It's almost like a text, like texting back and forth is essentially what like the comments are and stuff like that. So this I really enjoy because this is the more of of the interaction where it's like essentially real time. When I stop blabbering and I can actually read the chat, it's real time and I can see the chat. I refuse to wear glasses. These will help me. The orange one is like a carrot, right? You can see better at night. I've yet to try that one. So doing the podcast with Restless Mule was just a lot of fun. It's tough to watch me struggle trying to figure out, like, to get words are tough. I've mentioned that before. Words are tough, but overall, it was fun. It was just cool to see. And there's a couple videos I mentioned last time that I want a portion. I want something to come over and almost virtually unedited. I did something at the end with the logo change there, Restless Mule. But I remember that you post, or when I posted this up, and I think I sent you the thumbnail, or when I posted or whatever it was, you just changed your logo. So I got you, dude. I got you covered, man. So I went back there, getting all choked up, right? I went back there, grabbed your new logo, and put it over the old one. And then I put mine over there and changed the name. And I was going to try to match your font or match, I should say, whatever it's called, StreamYard. Yeah. But I was like, oh, whatever. So I just redid the font to match. So good to go on that. So there it is, episode 20. It's just cool to see, like, it went from 99 to 20. And then Moto Alleys will be next. I'm going to wait like 3 months, kind of do what I was going to do originally. Lucky Aces Riding was the one in person, and which is cool too. I mean, that's a whole different ball game being in person, because that's badass. And then Restless Mule, you did yours for the guy that's traveling all over the place when he came to your house and did it, and that was done in person too. So it's pretty cool what YouTube has done, as far as like bringing the world a little bit closer, even to your living room. But yeah, so that's cool. That's coming down. So I want to post that. Matter of fact, as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna post it on Friday. So it'll be for this weekend, probably Friday at noon. I'll be at work. Saturday I'm off, so I'll be able to like kind of catch up in the comments between Friday night, after hours at work, and then Saturday, and I work again Sunday. But I'll be able to like kind of hang out a little bit and catch up on some of the comments and stuff like that. But it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. And I laughed that beginning about the whole record button. Was I talking about earlier about this? Not hitting the record button? Yeah. Yeah, it's in there. All right, what we got? Yeah. Oh, well. What else? I think that's it. Let me see. Yeah, Mule is en route. So that's the goal. The goal is I'm going to post it, be done with that. Third month, first quarter of the year. So I nailed it. Last quarter last year, new channel was Lucky. And then let's see, April, May, June, somewhere probably May or June, Moto Alley will pop up, and then I'll have them all up here. So it'll be cool to port those over to this dimension. So I guess I'll turn it on to you guys to end it. If you guys have any questions, or hopefully y'all are doing well, just kind of put the bow on the live episode 3. This was the closest I came to not being prepared because of this. I know the quickest way to fix this, and it's not restarting everything, which is good. I also recorded this, at least what you're seeing. I recorded this camera. I think that's right. Yeah, whatever shows on GoPro, whatever shows on YouTube, I recorded that. Because I noticed when I was editing and condensing the 2 hours, or roughly 2 hours, down to like roughly 20 minutes, YouTube, when you upload something, YouTube compresses the video. And then when I don't have it, well, I probably do have a better way to record. It's called a snipping tool, and it comes with the computer. So like you can cut out an image or whatever and save that or whatever, or you can actually just screen record the whole screen. Well, when I did that, it was like pretty much compressing that video. So I was like getting a compression on YouTube, and I was playing it back to get a compression. So it was like compressing twice, if that makes sense. And so this time should be more 4K, 30 frames a second, because I've recorded it locally. But I have to, the reason why I record the screen in a few days is because the chat comes up, and I like to have the chat in especially if I'm talking about the chat. I like to have that as a like a second camera, but I like to have that in the highlight video. So that will still look kind of dull as far as like the image, but this will look more vivid. And truth be told, I can just, if I really want to, I can take the good image, shrink it down to where the bad image would be, fill up that whole box, and then the chat would just be a little bit blurry. So there's a way around it. Just depends on how much friction I want to put up with. Anyway. All right, I think that's it. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Playback King. I hope you're having a good day at work. Good night at work. Make some money. Everybody else, we're getting closer to spring. Those, if you're watching and you're in the other side of the country, or the lower side, not the country, the world, Southern Hemisphere, I saw South Osmodo was talking about he was talking about winter, but going into the fall, autumn, or whatever, and it was just, or fall, but yeah, it's sad. It's sad that we all can't have like good weather year round unless we live in Florida, but even they complain about like 60 degrees. So yeah, you demand 4K. I bet, man. I bet. Well, it's coming. All right, it's coming. So, hey, I appreciate you all very much. We'll do it again in 3 weeks. And next time you see me, I will be like, all that extra work that I had to do, the overtime and everything like that, will be behind. And I'm looking forward to making a bunch of videos with good audio, good video, hopefully not warped, and yeah, all good things. Probably a couple more monsters between now and then. So good night, everybody. You all have a good one. I appreciate it. Be safe. Look forward to your videos. Talk to you soon. I'm going to hit this button. I'm going to hit it. Stop streaming. Bye. Did I hit it? I'm still here. I hit it. It didn't do anything. March 1st. Yeah. Sorry. Winter's coming. All right. Let me hit it again. For real this time.